over spread. Here are my NBA game predictions for December 12th of 2021. During the last day of Week 8, there are 6 games tonight. I will be going over spreads and over-unders for each of the games, and then in parentheses I'll have what I would do in case I have any different ideas from what the FanDuel spreads and over-unders say. So for the Bucks at the Knicks, they have the Bucks at -3.5, which I agree with because Bucks they've been all over the place. Like normally, I would have the Bucks probably win this game by 7, but then also the Knicks can show up and play and turn around and win this game. So this is kind of a toss-up. So Bucks 3.5 is the safest one, but over 216 that should happen. Unless one of these teams just go stone cold, but over 216 seems more safe than Bucks -3.5 as of late. But I still expect Giannis to have a good game overall, better than Randall, as Randall's been pretty inconsistent this season. For the Nets at the Pistons, so spreads are Nets -8.5. Which I agree with. Honestly, probably should be more towards 15 because if I were the Nets, I'd probably try and win this game in the first half and really build a solid lead so you can rely on your bench to hold it. But knowing how the Nets play, that's probably not what will happen. They'll just turn around and try and win it in the fourth quarter as usual. I will go with the over for the 219.5, as I expect Brooklyn to get 115, like they should. So that means Detroit just has to score at least 104, which is possible. Honestly, they'll probably score like 102, but Nets should honestly score more than 115. So that's my thoughts. Durant should have a good game overall. Probably he should score at least like 25. No one can guard him on the Pistons, so he should score that. For the Mavericks at the Thunder, I have the Thunder +5. Mavericks are inconsistent. I don't know which team's going to show up each night. And Thunder have been pretty consistent at covering the spread, so +5 is reasonable in my eyes. I do expect this to go under 223.5. I thought this was kind of high, so if you want to drop down the under, maybe to 217, that's where I would stop. But between just how streaky the Mavericks are, and then just how odd the Thunder play, Thunder +5.5 and under 223.5 seem like the safe bets for this game. For the Pelicans at the Spurs, so even though the Spurs played last night, I do expect the Spurs to still win because no one played over 30 minutes for the Spurs. So honestly, they're still kind of fresh. So I do expect the Spurs to come out and beat the Pelicans. You can honestly probably have the Spurs win by a little bit more. It's just I don't know who's really going to guard Valanciunas and what's the game plan to guard against him, because I think Popovich has better ideas guarding people on the wings with the group he has than big men. So I have the over. So I can see this game going over 219.5, but I have the over at 214.5 to be more safe, just because the Spurs played last night. So I expect them to score, but maybe not as much as say if they had like a day off. So I'm just giving it a 5-point cushion. For the Timberwolves and the Trailblazers, so the spread was 0.5 point, so Wolves money line, but I'd honestly say the Wolves will win by more. So I just took 3.5 because I don't expect them to blow them out, but it's just safer. Let's do -3.5. Like I expect Edwards to come out and play, as he wants to be a great player, so he has to start with beating up teams that he should, like the Trailblazers, who have lost their identity, down a few players. I expect this to go under 234.5. Like, these teams can score a lot, but with the situation in Portland and then Minnesota. Well, Minnesota's defense is not great and they can score a lot of points, but say if one of these teams have an off night, it's not going over 234.5. So both these teams need to have a good night in order for this game to go over 234.5. I just see more likely one team will have an off night. For the Magic at the Lakers, Magic played last night and it was a close game, so Lakers should win by 11. They should win this game. If they lose, I mean, that's just embarrassing at that point. That's why I bumped the Lakers down to -6.5. Give a little more space. It's like, oh, you should just take the Magic for +11. They played last night. I don't trust that. But I do expect this to go over 220.5. There's just too much talent on the Lakers to not be over like 120. I mean, I will say the Magic played last night. This is just in the Lakers' hands. This is a free win for them, but I know they will somehow lose. Well, thanks for watching. That was my thoughts on the spreads and over-unders. If you have any comments or ideas for spreads and over-unders, or maybe some player stats, leave that in the comments to help other people out. And once again, thanks for watching.